you go.
I wasn't playing.
Alright. Hello, world! It's me, Anissa, and I am here for the first ever official Photo Friday. So, today, there's going to be two things that happen. One thing, the most important thing, I'm going to be discussing with you how to get the most out of your photographer. And, like I said, every Photo Friday there will be a random photo introduced to me at some point in time. I'm not going to know what it is until it is given to me. And I'll have to discuss this photo. It's going to be a photo that I've taken at some point, and I'm going to have to discuss it and tell you guys a little bit about it. Alright, so here we go. The first step to getting the most out of your photographer is doing your research. What kind of photographer are you looking for? And don't just go for the cheapest, because you may pick the cheapest at the start, but it may end up costing you a lot in the end if they're not what you're looking for, and you end up having to buy many more prints than you had planned and rescheduling more appointments. So you want to look at not only price but also style. Do they shoot a lot of candid images? Do they shoot a lot of very natural images? Do they have a lot of images that are mostly outdoor? Do they do a lot of studio pose shots? These are all different things that you can look at and ask yourself, you know, what do you like? If it's a photographer worth their merit at all, they'll definitely have images that you can look at to understand their work a little bit better. They'll probably have a bio to understand them a little bit better, and it's all very important whenever you are doing your research on a photographer. The second step to getting the most out of your photographer is actually helping them learn a little bit about you, or who they're going to photograph rather. If you're getting this for your senior in high school or a family member or something like that, you might want to help them get to know that person more than yourself, but what the important part of this step is that they understand a little bit about the person they're going to shoot. Are you athletic? Do you want to incorporate that to your photo shoot? What kind of books do you like? What kind of movies do you like? What kind of cartoons do you like? Do you not like cartoons? Are you super serious? Those are all questions that you need to ask yourself and tell your photographer. It's very important that they understand who they're shooting so that they can plan and theme around you and understand what you want. If they go into this completely unknowing what you're going to want, they're just going to plan whatever they can figure out, and you may not like it. So,
Hey, Nessa! Tell us about this photo!
Alright, so this is our random photo of the day that we're going to be discussing. I took this photo early on in my photography degree in my undergrad, and it was one of the first digital things that I shot. We were trained in analog, so this was a big deal that we were shooting in digital. The title of this is Circumlocution. Circumlocution, we were given a word and we had to design an entire shoot around one word. And circumlocution means a roundabout way of explaining something. So the first thing that came to my mind was charades. And then I was like, okay, well, what's a more elegant version of charades? And I came up with mimes. They have a very roundabout way of explaining things. And I knew instantly who I wanted to use as my model. He's an old friend of mine. He's super tall and lanky, and he has really long limbs, and is skinny and awkward and just adorable and sweet. And I knew that I wanted to use him as my model. The shoot was super fun. He was great. He was super awkward. But it worked. It totally worked for this, because mimes can be a little awkward, you know? Just a little bit. And he was super fun. In this particular image, I really, really liked it. I had worked through the whole thing, just struggling to get my lighting just right. I had just started lighting in my new apartment, and I wasn't quite used to where the sockets were yet, and it was not the best. It was taking me it was a hot mess. So it was taking me a good long while to figure out where I wanted my lights. And I finally was starting to get it towards like the middle of the shoot after moving them 1,000 times and trying to figure out where to plug things in at, and getting extension cords and all sorts of mess everywhere and tripping over things. And I had him cross his arms like this, and it was just a magical moment. And I love this photo, and good job choosing this photo. I think it's great. So here you go. Here's a good look. I'll put a link to this image in the description below, and I'll put a link to other images in the series if you guys want to see that. So, woo, there you go. Alright. So back to what we were discussing. Helping them get to know you. Let them know just, what kinds of different things that you like, and that'll help a lot whenever they come to do your photos, or you go to them, or whatever you guys decide you want to do. Alright, the next thing I want to do is choose locations or suggest locations depending on your photographer. You'll know what they want you to do after you do your research. Choose locations that work with your photographer. If your photographer does a lot of outdoor shots, you're not going to want to tell them that you want to do strict studio work. I mean, they might be able to work with that, and they might be really good at it, and that's just something you're going to have to discuss with them. So this is all kind of goes back to doing your research. It's very important. Different photographers have different styles, and you're not going to get a lot out of your photographer if you're forcing them out of their comfort zone. Now, maybe you've chosen a photographer that's very well-rounded and can work in any circumstance, and you may not have to worry about this step. But if you are in an area where maybe the photographers are not as seasoned, some country areas don't have as many seasoned photographers as you may want there to be, so you're going to want to be really careful that you work with your photographer's abilities and don't go beyond their means. And the last and the most important step that I cannot stress enough to you is relax. Hopefully by this point you've done all your research, you've told your photographer everything that they need to know, and now it's their turn to be stressed, and it's their turn to completely take over the situation. If you relax and work with your photographer and do what they ask you to do and just be comfortable, you're going to have a much better shoot than if you're fighting them every step of the way and you're nervous and you're stiff and you're awkward and you don't know how to move. You're going to feel much more comfortable and much more happy with your photos when they come in. If you can just take a deep breath and relax when the photographer is working. I know some photographers are super good at getting their clients to relax, and some clients are just so stiff, it doesn't matter how good the photographer is, they're not going to relax, and then their photos just don't turn out quite as amazing as they could be. The lighting may be perfect, the setting may be perfect, everything may be perfect, but if you're stiff and awkward, the photo's just not going to be as good. And if you need a break, a lot of photographers are used to that. If all this attention is just too much for you and you're having a hard time relaxing, then just take a break. And a lot of photographers will play whatever kind of music you want them to play, if that helps. So make sure that you're in an environment where you can be comfortable, and that your photographer is aware if you do get nervous that you're getting nervous and you just need to take a moment and shake it off and, and be more comfortable. So that is what you need to know. So do your research on your photographer. Help them get to know you and do their research on you. Understand your location and relax. So with that in mind, I hope you guys take all of these tips to heart and you use them in the future. If you're interested in me as a photographer, you can check me out on Facebook, Anissa Blankenship, and if you want to check out my photo page, you can check me out on Studio 645. I have someone making faces at me. Like this, subscribe to this, and share it with everybody you know. Thanks guys, have a great day, and until next Friday.